Okay, everybody, please support our sponsors. They support us. C2 Lashes with Claire McNabb. All your lashes and brows technicians, give them a wee call. Stephen Mayer Sports Massage Therapy for all your injuries or just want you to relax. It's Turbo Time with Turbo Trail Plastering and Rough Casting Services Limited. No BS from this PT team Mairsy. You know them, give them a call. There's the lovely Eileen Burke from MB Glass Partitions. They do amazing work with all your glass panels, you name it, backsplashes. Give them a wee buzz. I think hypnotherapy and personal development when you're up and when you're down. Big Ricardo from Arctic Car Wash and Van Hire. Please support them. They support us.
Hi, buddy. How you doing? And welcome to the Mairsy Concept. And today we've got Darren Wilson from Safe, who's going to give us a wee journey about himself. And I'm going to let Darren really explain that himself. Darren, welcome. How you doing?
Yeah, all right, Stephen. Thanks.
How was it with your Stein now, mate?
What, sorry?
How was it with your Stein just now? How's things doing there?
Oh, it's the COVID situation.
Yep.
Yeah, well, it's all madness in my personal opinion, but yeah, it's tough, isn't it? You know, it has a lot of effects on people's mental health and, you know what I mean, general well-being, you know what I mean, being isolated, cooped up, you know, masks or no masks and the masks and the anti-vaxxers and vaccines. Yeah, yep. Too much for me. I had my pay grade.
Yep. What's your logo there, Darren, in Safe Hands? What's your logo on your T-shirt?
Right, so in Safe Hands, when I got into the professional bare knuckle fighting scene with the Spartan DK Fight Club, I saw a lot of lads that were suffered with the same stuff I did. You know, either current or past substance misuse, mental health issues, PTSD, past trauma. Some fighters may have been taking steroids, stuff like that, you know, and obviously it's a blood sport, so bloodborne virus testing. So I set up a charity, a community interest company. So it's safeguarding all fighters' eventualities, you know, to give people support, not only fighters, but fans as well, you know what I mean, outside, not only in the arena, the fighting arena, but also in the lives as well, you know what I mean? So in Safe Hands is just like, we've got you.
Well, Darren, we've had a wee chat before on the telephone, and you've been telling us about your journey, which I think is very interesting. And I think we got to meet through a good friend of mine who passed away there recently. The name has only been known as Pat. I've not to give the real name there, but I wanted to put this out there because a couple of the family members were wanting to come on board, but it didn't seem to happen. But I think they're going to watch this one, and hopefully they can come on and get some answers for there, which I'm really hoping that they do, you know. I never like to force anybody, you know, but I just think these things are quite good for there, you know what I mean? It's guys like yourself, you know, who've lived it, is a big thing. So who is Darren Wilson?
Well, who is Darren Wilson? So I'm a 47-year-old gentleman, got 3 children, 3 grandchildren, a loving partner, a Canet Corso dog, but it didn't all start off like that. You know what I mean? I sort of started taking substances from a young age, you know, from like 15-year-old. 15-year-old where we're really obsessive and compulsive and sort of dependency, whether that be psychological or you know, addictive, you know what I mean, where it formed a habit that your body needed. So yeah, 28 years of using every substance under the sun.
What made you start it, Darren? What was your first drug? What made you start?
The old legal poison to start with. I think I had my first drink about 8-year-old, and I was really ill. I mean, I drank a full massive bottle of Cinzano Bianco, and I threw up all the way back home in car. But I sort of liked it as well. Yeah. The first sort of drug that I really set off with was solvent, so cans of gas, and the reasons being was escapism. Yeah. Even from a young age, I got really badly bullied at school, you know, skin condition, big ears, you know, all that sort of thing. Kids can be cruel. And I felt isolated, so I did sort of things to escape and for acceptance with other people as well.
See, it's weird just saying that, because I also do personal development coaching, and bullying is a big thing. It crops up all the time. We substance abuse for there, because I was bullied myself. That's what got me into boxing and martial arts, you know. So you hear that all the time, you know, and it's like you say, they're just looking for that escape, you know. But and the thing is it's hard, because when they've got that euphoric feeling, how do you say something like that at a young age is wrong, you know? And it's like they feel good.
Exactly. If if somebody came up to me at 15-year-old and goes, right, Darren, starting off on solvency here, you're going to be a statistical progression through, you know, through the drug categories until you get to class A's. You're going to be looking at prison sentences. You're going to be 9.5 stone and live on the streets. You're going to live on New Age traveller sites with chickens on your chest and stuff, you know. You're going to end up being an IV user. You're going to lose your family. You're going to, you know, be disowned. You're not going to be employable. You're not going to, you know, all this stuff. You're not going to have a shower for 5 months and stuff like that. You know, living on streets, and have a criminal record. I'd have gone, yeah, away with you. You know what I mean? At 15-year-old, you know everything, don't you? But with hindsight.
What made you take the step up in drugs? What made the level go?
I suppose it's just who you were, isn't it? It's sort of my experience. It's just who you were. You know, when say I was born in 1974, so by late 80s, early 90s, rave scene here. You know what I mean? The rave scene actually ended at Manchester. You know, illegal parties in warehouses and fields and all that sort of thing. And it was like, yeah, this is what we were doing. We were doing acid, you know, LSD, you know what I mean? We're doing amphetamines, and, you know, then obviously ecstasy, when it was £20 for a dove and you knew what you were getting, you know, and it was just that party scene. But the difference with me was that when people, because I still identify as an addict. I'm an addict in recovery. I will always be an addict in recovery, because I suffer with mental obsession and physical compulsion to use. Even though I haven't used an illicit chemical or abused a prescribed medication or anything like that in just over 3.5 years, I've still got a head that tells me, oh, maybe I can just have one. You know, so
I hear that for everybody. They never seem to lose it. They never seem to lose it. You know, it's always there.
Yeah.
It's always there.
But it's a footballer, isn't it? You know, I used for 28 years every day, multiple times a day. So
what about your family? What about your family, Darren? I mean, did they know, or were you hiding it for them? What was the situation there?
At a young age, I was hiding it. I was hiding it. It was only in like 1994-ish, when I started taking heroin. When it's, you know, heroin obviously it forms a dependency very quickly. So lost a lot of weight. I wasn't punctual. I wasn't reliable. You know, I set off with good intentions to do the right things, but the behaviour completely changed. And so, yeah, I hurt my family along the way, really.
What about the hair? If you don't mind, I want to jump on that for there, the heroin situation. I don't want to get into massive detail on this one, but it's I remember I was with a certain friend years ago, and we were at this certain place, and it was really weird, because you recognise a situation, you know, and if you're through the streets, you do recognise certain things, you know, and vibes. And I remember this guy says to me, "Oh, we need to go, this and that." And I said, "What's wrong?" And he went, "Oh, we need to go." But I knew something was wrong. And he says, "Look, Stephen, this guy's going to shoot up." And I'd never saw it before. And I says, "I want to watch it. I want to watch it." And you know what it reminded me? 100%. It reminded me like Trainspotting, exactly to a T, like Trainspotting. That's what I was watching. It was just like Ewan McGregor sitting there, the Trainspotting, the exact. And I wanted to see it happening. To me, it was a part of life, and I wanted to see, and you know, things for there, you know. But it was exactly the way it was. But the heroin situation, what is the difference between, say, the heroin and maybe, say, cocaine or dope or weed?
Right. So heroin, obviously, it's a class A drug. It's a depressant, so it depresses your central nervous system. And it's also a painkiller as well. So it's known as a downer. So when I used to inject heroin, I didn't start off injecting heroin. I was never going to inject, but the desperation comes to a point where I had £5 left in my name, and somebody had already pulled the last bag of heroin up that I was with, and pulled it up, and it was like poorly, because heroin withdrawal is absolutely horrific. So the only way to describe heroin to somebody who hasn't used it is like being wrapped in a warm, fuzzy lamb's wool blanket where everything is still there, but everything's just dulled a lot, So, but obviously, with cocaine, it's short acting, it's a stimulant, so you're up and about, and same with crack cocaine. I spent a lot of money on crack cocaine, and it's very moreish because it sets off. So if you start off a level and you have one pipe and it brings you to here, yeah, then as it's dropping, it drops to there. So your next pipe only goes to there, and then you go down there. So eventually, you're not even hitting the base level you start with. That's why people spend £500 a night. That's what I got to £500 a night chasing that initial first pint.
Do you know what's always got me, Darren? How can people afford £500 a night?
Well,
Without getting into detail, how can they afford it?
That's criminality. You know what I mean? As a using addict, I had a lot of skills that I transfer into my everyday life today. But I could manipulate. I could, don't manipulate now, but I could sell anything to anybody. I could. But I set off with right intentions. I didn't want to go out and hurt anybody, the family. I say, well, lend me £100 here, and I had every intention of paying it back. But then circumstances, you find it. You find the money. It's like beg, borrow, or steal. Initially, I had loads of friends, I had loads of family about me, and all that sort of thing. But eventually, it turns to criminality.
You spoke about being on the streets. You've not had a shower for about, say, 5 months, things like that. How does it feel living in the streets? I mean, I watch a lot of programs about that, a lot, but obviously it's not something I've ever done, obviously. But what's it like?
It's you've got nowhere safe. You've got nowhere safe. That's the biggest thing. You have a hell of a lot of time on your hands, wandering about, doing nothing but trying to get money together so you can have a drink or use to get your head down on a night. You feel very vulnerable. People kick you as you walk past, try and pee on you, lads being trying to set a light. And it's very, very lonely. Because I was broken, I was absolutely broken, but I was in a place where I didn't have the cognitive ability to think of a rational plan to get myself out of it.
And that's what I was going to say. You see, when you're on the streets and it's at night time and it's dark, it's wet, it's damp, it's snowing, whatever. Do you ever have visions of the past, like what I should have done and I should have done more of, or this or that, or what's going through your head?
Yeah, it's when you're laid there and all you've got is time. All you've got is your head. And that's what I've had to sort of untrain and put positive affirmations in and stuff, because it just ticks and ticks and fires, and then it's like 700 mile an hour table tennis going like that, and you can't grab hold of anything coherently to go, all right, well, I need to do that. And then it feeds into the mental health side stuff as well, especially with crack cocaine, with psychosis.
Did you ever share a needle?
I did, yeah. My practices around injecting were terrible, because it's that when you're withdrawing, rattling from heroin, all safety goes out of the way, because a heroin withdrawal is horrific. You are vomiting and diarrhea at the same time. It feels like you've got vices inside your bones, opening them out. You know, your skin's crawling, you're freezing cold, then boiling hot. You're yawning, you're wrenching. It's horrific, and it goes on forever. Every minute feels like an hour. And you know, think of the worst flu you've ever had, times it by 500.
Would you say that scene in Trainspotting then, when he was just cold turkey in the room, was true?
It was a good depiction. It was a good depiction. You know, there's hallucinations. You're weak as a kitten. You know, you have nothing about you, even to hold your head up. You know, I've spent times where I've tried to do home detoxes on my own, just cold turkey, bang, and I've been trying to crawl from my bed to the bathroom, and it's taken me 2 hours, because I've been that weak to get there and vomit all around, and that's the fear of going through that. Once you've tried to come off it, the fear of going through that gets you finding any ways and means possible to avoid going into that state again.
What made you see the future? What was the light that made you see that they became the sort of last day where you did anything, or the day where you really go to help? What vision did you have of the future?
I didn't know. I just wanted to be clean, because you know, from let's say from late teens, 15, mid-teens, all my adult life, I've always used a substance every day. So I wanted to be clean, but I didn't know what clean meant. I didn't know what abstinent meant. I didn't know what recovery meant. I didn't know what, you know, everybody has a dream of, you know, wife, 2.4 children, picket fence, you know, all that societal type stuff. I just wanted to be clean and be all right, and not be poorly when I woke up, and not have to go do things that went against my morals. Because I've always had a conscience in it. And then when you do something against your moral values and principles, then your conscience kicks in. Then you want the drugs to take that away as well. So it's that perpetual cycle.
What about drug rehab? How have you ever been in drug rehab?
Yeah, I've been in 7. I've been in 7. I first started trying to really seriously get clean since 2006. I were on methadone prescriptions and all that sort of thing for 12 years, which was just a maintenance dose. But with methadone, you can use on top. You know, you can still drink as well, you can still smoke crack cocaine on top. So it was just, a methadone script for me was just something that meant that I want poorly straight away in the morning, so I could take it and then go about my business to get the drugs. So when I was on streets, 2005, 2006, I went in my first rehab in Blackpool. I got 94 days clean, and I was looking at life, and somebody were chastising the kid, you know, in a shop, and the cars going about and people bustling about, and I had no idea I was going to fit into that. I went out of use for a year, and so I actually got clean in 2009. I got a couple of years under my belt, and I stopped doing what I needed to do for my recovery. And then the thought of, just have one came back in, and then it took me out for 5 years until I got into recovery this time.
What about the staff in rehab? What are they like towards you?
In rehab, like I was speaking about before, is, you know, lived experience. People want people with lived experience. So it's normally addicts or alcoholics in recovery that are workers. You know what I mean? Because there's that unconditional positive regard. There's that empathy. You know what I mean? Somebody's actually been there. So, but the first one I went in was hard. It was hard. Everything was done on a bell. You couldn't even get a Rizzler off Sunday for a roll up because it was enabling, and it shot my head because it was the first time I tried to get clean since I was 15. But I've worked in rehabs in the community. I've worked in mental health in the community and all that stuff, and I know where people have been. So there's that empathy, and people go up and beyond to support you, in my experience.
Good. I've never really heard, I've never asked anybody to know that story for there, you know, and the reason I'm asking it is because when I talk to certain people and they're like, oh no, if I go there, I'm going to be judged. You know, they're just, it's going to be, I'm tarred with the same brush and things like that, you know, and I've never known anybody, you know, well, anybody in that, as I say that again for there. I just wanted to know how, did they do that? Did they tar you with the same brush, or, you know, were they sympathetic towards it?
Well, of course, they're sympathetic, because you know you're trying. You want to give up these behaviours you've had for a long time. Most people, or you're at a place where you can't care for yourself. You know what I mean? Because you know the drugs, and I include alcohol as a drug. It'd be a class A if it were found today. You know what I mean? With the impact it has on society and people's health and deaths and stuff. So yeah, they're supportive, but what I had to accept is what I suffered from to start with. I just thought, put the enemy down, I'll be all right. You know, it's not a case of that for me. I'm obsessive and compulsive with or without drugs. I can be obsessive about gym, boxing, crash cars, motorbikes, trainers, women, you know, anything. Because I look for an external fix for an internal problem.
Yep. What about your body? Did any parts of your body suffer? Organs differed? Did anything, or did you escape that?
I've been really lucky, really. I mean, I've got, I don't know if you can see, on there, I've got veins, track marks all up my arms. You know, even though I'd used dirty needles, I got away with, I didn't get hepatitis C, I didn't get HIV. I was really fortunate in that respect. I had I had one occasion where they were going to chop my right arm off, because it was that swollen, like 3 times the size it normally was. I put it in a Bradford sling in hospital, and 5 injections a day of, you know, stuff to sort out and warfarin. And they said if it don't start, because it was tracking, they said if it don't start working, we'd have to take your arm. You know what I mean? And thankfully, somebody were looking out for me, and I still got my arm. But the insanity of this stuff is, I'm there in a sling, going to lose my arm because of the need not to be poorly. I had my partner at the time injecting me in my other arm. You know what I mean? The consequences, you sort of take your chances because of the fear of that withdrawal process.
What would you say to any families who think their kids are using? What would their approach be?
This is a strange one. It's an hard one because I've had both approaches from my own family. They tried to support me. They tried to you know, get me help, take me to substance misuse appointments and stuff like that. And they've also done the tough love thing where they booted me out, and that's where I ended up on the streets and stuff like that. I think it's just about communication, not chastising, not having a stigmatic view that, you know, and stereotypical view of somebody that uses heroin or any other substance dependently or chaotically or harmfully. We need help. People need help. They don't need bollocking. You know what I mean? They don't need people, you know, parents to go, oh, yeah, well, I'm at. You know, we're human beings. We're human beings. You know, I haven't got a moral deficiency. I've got an illness. An illness that the way I look at it is, if you're allergic to peanuts, yeah, if you've got a peanut allergy and you come out in an anaphylactic shock and you swell up and all this, yeah, and you die. Now, the rational sane thing to do is, you don't eat peanuts, do you? Right? And your head will tell you, well, I'm allergic to them, I'm not going to eat them. So what I suffer from is I've got a mind that says, you'll be all right with that one, it'll be different this time. And then the body, as soon as I put it in, goes, oh, anaphylactic shock. But do you know what I mean? It sets off, it sparks it off that I cannot stop. You know, my last relapse, I had 1 beer, and well, then I supped about 8 that night, which was really steady for me. Then I had no desire to drink the next day. But within a space of 2 weeks, I had a needle back in my leg. I was looking at a 7-year prison sentence, and I tried to commit suicide. because I couldn't carry on living, doing the things I was doing to family and friends, and being that spiritually bankrupt and broken and physically and mentally tortured. I felt my only way out for the best thing for me and my family was to try and just not be here.
So where is Darren Wilson now?
Where am I now? I'm just over 3 years, 7 months abstinent, which is, it doesn't sound a lot, but it's a miracle. If I can get through a day without using, I'm not clinging on to see every day going, no, don't use. I have no desire to use. But I've still got an head that tells me every so often, oh, that'd be nice. Oh, well, I smell a weed, when I'm walking past and go, oh, that smells nice. I don't even like weed. I stopped smoking weed about 15 years ago. I didn't even like it when I smelled it, when I smoked it. But my head will still go, oh yeah. No desire to use. Thankfully, I work a 12-step program, and I won't say which one because it's part of our tradition. We don't air which one we go to at the level of press, radio, and films. I work a 12-step program, which has allowed me to look at what I suffer from, start believing in somebody else to give me some help, because I would always, I'll fight anybody, I'll do this on my own. The motto in our sort of camp is you surrender to win. It's that paradox. I get support of other people that have walked my path and are a bit further along than me. Then I sponsor people that are a little bit at the start of their journey. So I do that, and it's allowed me to see how I tick a lot of introspective work around my past, my childhood, my resentments, my fears, my conduct in general, what harms have caused, and then where I've been able to, I've gone back and made direct amends, whether it be financial or just say, look, this is how it was. What do you need me to do to sort of give you a bit of respite or a bit of restitution? And I've got a good life. It's not about material things in recovery, but it's nice to have material things as well. Remember, I've come from being 9.5 stone living on the streets. I got to fight for a European light heavyweight title at Spartan BK Fight Club. And stand-up comedy for charity and stuff like that, writing my own stuff. I've acted in a play. I've set up Safeguarding All Fighters Eventualities to help support people with the same complex needs that I had. We've got a beautiful partner. We, in a rented accommodation, rented house, but it's all right. I'm not on the streets. Drive a nice Audi. Most of all, I'm not hurting anybody on a daily basis, and I'm able to give back through my lived experience to try and help other people, because nobody has to die from this disease.
Yep.
Nobody has to die from this disease.
Can you tell us a wee bit more about Safe?
Yeah. Like I say, I set it up to help people, really, because when I was fighting, I noticed lads and fans, I had certain problems or that they might not even realise they had a problem. I'm getting a lot of feedback now. A lot of people are ringing me up and messaging me and saying, I've got this going on, I've got this mental health going on, I've got that substance misuse stuff going on, or I've got this going on with kids, or I've got this, because what I've got through the fellowship and through working in this field is I've got links all over the UK around mental health, substance misuse, homelessness, all that sort of thing. So if I don't know anybody in your area, I'll find somewhere. It's just about supporting people. Somebody, even if it's just somebody to chat to initially. Like I say, I've volunteered for the Hepatitis C Trust as well. So I learned how to bloodborne virus test, dry blood spot testing. So I can run that out for fighters and stuff like that. Just set up support through sport, safe for communities as well as part of Safe, which is try to get people away from the knife crime, the gun crime, the fighting on the street, get them into boxing gyms, getting it, well, support through any sport whatsoever, whether it be running, discus throwing, whatever your bag is, sort of thing. So we try to get people on board that want to sort of affiliate with Safe, and putting together a database of places across the UK where I can say, right, we've got these people contacting us. This gym's, you can come down there, maybe a bit of a reduced rate, or stuff like that.
Yep. I'm enjoying watching Christian stuff on the Spartan. I'm enjoying that regular every day. It's good. It's I've done a wee podcast with me. It's interesting, I've been involved in boxing and Thai boxing all my life, but no bare knuckle. I've never been involved in getting into the ring and fighting bare knuckle. So as he said, it's got an acquired taste, but it's good watching his stuff because he keeps it regular, which I like to see people doing. It's regular. He's always on there. I like to watch that for there.
Right.
So, but it's one wee last question before we go here, Darren. I wanted to ask you earlier on, I forgot about it. Do you feel as though the government gives decent enough help and support regarding drugs?
I think it's tight. The funding is tight. It's like across any third sector stuff. You know what I mean? Funding's always tight. And they've always got an agenda behind it and stuff like that. There is a lot more going into substance misuse, but then it seems to be a lot of pilot schemes. 12-month funding for this, 12-month funding for that. A lot of people are still on long-term prescriptions, substitute medication, which don't need to be. In my opinion, I were on a methadone prescription 12 years. 12 years, you know what I mean? And not once did I have any intervention that did anything. It's all right going in there and filling out TOPS forms, treatment outcome profiles and stuff like that to tick boxes for funding and stuff, but it's got a lot better. Yeah, it has got a lot better because we've got people like me in recovery working in these services now. Yep. That want people to not be maintained on a script. That need to look at the root cause, the trauma, the stuff from childhood. That made like myself escape to start with, and then look at the coping strategies, look at moving forward, look at dealing with some stuff.
Yep.
And so it's more money could be put in. A lot more money could be put in.
Well, Darren, it's been interesting talking to you, and I'd like to, as you were we chat on the phone there, I'd like to do a couple of more parts on yourself. But I'm really hoping that I can bring this family on board, to get a wee chat. That's not me forcing the issue. That was them actually saying that, which I thought was even better. But when it comes to it, it's like, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. But I think when they see this, I think it'll be a big difference. And I think, we can get you back on again, Dan, and hopefully bring the one or two on. And as I said to him, it can be audio, and I think they would have a lot more to ask you regarding their boy, and it'd be good for me to listen to that as well, and be more educated on it and see what's what. But it's good talking to you, and we'll definitely be in touch again with you there, Darren, and we'll be keeping an eye on Safe as well, and Christian and the rest of the gang for the Spartan boxing young for there. So Darren, thank you very much for the Mairsy concept. We'll be in touch again. Cheers, mate.
Nice.
Thanks, mate.